Here we have corporate restructuring, insolvency, liquidation, and winding up. It is questioned. It is a recent paper, 2020 December, and question number 1, that is, a Mango Communication Limited is a new company that is willing to take over telecommunication license to operate 20 telecom circles. Okay, and get itself listed on stock exchange, but present government policy doesn't permit issuing new licenses. Now there is another telecom company by name of the Tongo Telecom Limited having listed with the BSE NSE holding license of 22 telecom circles. Now later company is looking for some external reconstruction. Here, through merger or acquisition, due to its operational ineffectiveness, as a company secretary you need to ask that what merger deal can happen so that Mango Communication Limited could resolve the issue relating to the listing and licensing both. Here, if we talk about this question, that strategy to be adopted in this case is a reverse merger. Means a small company is merging with a large company is merging with a small company. So strategy that is basically unlisted company listed company is basically merging with the unlisted company. So here strategy adopted in this case is a reverse merger in order to achieve the objectives of the lower taxes, economic of scales, broadening of market network, protecting trademarks, license agreements, and avoiding hassles of complying with listing requirement of a stock exchange. Now in reverse merger, we know that it is a simplified process as it minimizes the risk due to less dependence on market. Now similar strategy we can adopt in the merger like Vodafone Idea Cellular, Kingfisher, Air Deccan, ICICI and ICICI Bank, Godrej Sobs, Gujarat Godrej Innovative Chemicals. In this case, Mango Communications Limited can adopt normal merger to absorb Tongo Limited, and it may lose telecom licenses, but it may lose telecom licenses here, but hence reverse merger is suggested because Mango Communications Limited becomes a listed company and there is no need to acquire fresh licenses. Okay, now we move to the next question, that is corporate restructuring always has a motive, and we need to elaborate about the financial motive that are prevalent in today's scenario. So we have this restructuring which aims at improving the competitive position of an individual business, and it is basically maximizing its contribution to the corporate objectives. Now it is aimed to get an edge over its competitor. Now corporate restructuring may be born in two types, like financial and others. Now financial objective that aims at reducing risk, increasing operating efficiency, and improving access to financial markets, or obtaining tax benefits to eliminate competition, and so on. Now for the manufacturing unit, the operating efficiency is at most importance, but for lenders like banks, financial institution and NBFC, the disbursement risk is the greatest, as wrong judgment shall create a non-performing asset. Risk as has many forms, and anyone can be cause of concern for a lender. Now for the newly set up company, desire to expand, modernizing and grow, the access to financial market is essential, and for this the generation of ideas is important, which in future should be able to generate and sustain revenue. Now tax saving is a target for all corporate entities, and we'll move to another question, that is John Limited is a process of taking over Tony Limited, and turnover of the Tony Limited as per latest financial statement, it is 800 crores, and asset that is valued is 280 crores. Now there are no major changes in the value of assets and projected turnover for the current financial year. Now the board of directors seeks your opinion obtaining approvals as per the Competition Act. So it is going beyond 1000 crore. So yes, Competition Commission comes into the picture. So let's go with the answer. The section 5 of the Competition Act, which section they are talking about? Section 5, that envisages financial threshold beyond which any combination that requires approval for the Competition Commission of India. Now the competition that involves assets or turnover below threshold limit need to be notified to the Competition Commission of India for seeking approval. Now central government has granted exemption to acquisition of the small targets that are known as de minimis exemption. Now in terms of notification number that has comes into the notification, now all forms of a combination that involving assets more than 350 crores in India or turnover of not more than 1000 crores in India are exempt. So section 5 of the period 405 years. Now in the given case, both the assets and also the turnover are within the notified threshold. This is wrong answer. Oh, that is 800 crores. I've just merged, considering that it is 800 crores. It's not 1000 crores. I basically added both. So there is no need, because 1000 and 350 crores is the criteria, and no need for Competition Commission to come into the picture. Now if we talk about question number D, that is the paid up equity share capital of Zumba Limited is 1 lakh shares. Okay, and rupees 10 each on April 1st, 2019. Now the promoter hold 37,000 shares on the 1st April, which is 37% of the paid up share capital. Okay, so 37% they hold. Who hold? Promoter hold. Now promoter are 3 shareholders: Ram holding this, Shyam holding this, and Mohan holding this. Now the company makes a preferential allotment to its director. Ram has got 7,000, Mohan has got 1,000. Now we need to define the creeping acquisition, and we need to evaluate the required for the public announcement in the above case. So if we talk about 7,000 and 1,000 additionally preferential allotted to the director. Now let's go with the answer first. Creeping acquisition, we know that slightly we are getting that getting the share of the company. So creeping acquisition, that refers to the process in which both the acquirer together with the person acting in concern, where they hold 25%, not more than 25%, but less than 75%, because after 75% it will not be the public company, na? So beyond 25% and less than 75%, it comes under the which term? Creeping acquisition. For any plus minus 2, we need to consult with the company. Now increase in their stake in the target company by buying up to 5% of the voting rights of the one company in financial year. Now in the regulation, if we talk about SAST regulation, if individual shareholding of an acquirer after acquisition that exceeds 25% of creeping acquisition limit of 5% in a financial in a target company, such acquirer need to make public announcement of an open offer. So here that is almost 7%, 8% rather. So that in such situation they need to make an open offer, to make public announcement for an open offer. Now in the given case, combined persons promoters that holding proposed acquisition is 37. They are basically adding that 37% is equals to 4. What that happened, that they have added. Okay, so they have added these both, that they have additionally increased that, and okay, so 38,000, 37, and just a minute, I need to make a calculation for that. Hmm. 4.66%. How they have? So earlier there was a holding of 37%, no? So you need to minus that. Okay. So so now it become 41%, huh? But earlier they have a 37% of holding. Okay, it is a less than the trigger limit. Now I got to understand. So now no need to make for public announcement. Now in this case, RAM, that is a post acquisition, RAM has a 25.92% that exceed 25%. So therefore RAM has triggered the code and under an obligation to make a public announcement. So they had to make a public announcement, and in the case of the Mohan, there is no requirement and does not cross either 5% and also the 25% of the trigger limit. How easy question it was asked in the examination. Huh? So now we move to the other question, that is a payment of stamp duty that is under the Stamp Act. It's required even the case of the order that is made by the NCLT in terms of section 230 and 204. Means even if it is an odd through order, we need to pay the stamp duty. So it's a good question. Let's go with the answer. The central government has exempted the payment of stamp duty on instrument that is evidencing transfer of property between the companies limited by shares as defined in the Companies Act. So where at least 90% of the issued share capital of the transferee company is in the beneficial ownership of the transferor company. So if 90% of the case, 90% of the issued share capital belongs to the another company, then there is no need to go for stamp duty payment. Now if the transfer that takes place between the parent and subsidiary company, one of which is a beneficial owner of not less than 90% of the issued share capital of the other, then there is no need. If the circular that was issued in the year 1937 void with the exemption of the granted payment of the stamp duty, and there's an amalgamation merger holding between the holding subsidiary company, High Court has ordered in this case. Now otherwise stamp duty is payable in such orders being an instrument that is liable to duty as conveyed state. I think they have बहुत ही इन्होंने old question इसमें they have put in ना, and even the answer is really old. Okay, so if stamp duty that is being a state subject, we know. So the above would be applicable in those states where state government allows the above stated notification of the central government. That is, otherwise stamp duty would be applicable irrespective of the relations mentioned of the state notification. So imposition of the stamp duty is prerogative of the state government. So it is applicable only on those states that have adopted the said circular. So they talked about the earlier circular. So usually they need to pay here. The buyback strategy that is nowadays being adopted for leading corporate bodies. Yes, so we need to mention that one case that has happened recently for the benefit of the buyback. So buyback has happened even as per the current scenario Infosys has issued. Now buyback of the security is one of the kind of internal security that may bring economic in the cost of service towards shareholder to enhance the future earnings per share. Now it prevent unwelcome takeover bids and it enhance the consolidation of the stake in company. It is an alternative mode of reduction in capital without approval of the NCLT. Now corporate giant like Infosys, Wipro, TCS have also resorted to buyback for the certain securities. So buyback that aims to improving the return of the equity through distribution of cash, that is leading to the long-term increase in the members' value. Now some of the important advantage of the buyback are as follows. Now the company that possessing large free reserve base are willing to use funds to purchase and acquire shares and other securities in the buyback scheme. So they can use their funds in a wise and effective manner. So buyback of the shares and security that help promoter to formulate an effective defensive strategy that against hostile takeover bids, and also the buyback of the shares and security that results in lower capital base enhance post buyback earning per share and appreciate considerably the price earning ratio. Also the buyback is undertaken after taking into account the strategic and operational cash requirements of the company in medium term for the returning of the surplus fund. So they just had modified the answer that buyback is one of the way of reduction of the capital, and many of the companies have they used it, and earning per ratio will increase in future. Earning per ratio has increased in such case, and also that the company can use their free reserve in such a case. So they just had modified the answer. So now we have another question, that is Competition Commission of India that takes into account consideration that various factors while assessing the adverse effect on competition. So what we need to take consideration various factors when we take about consideration here in this case. So we know that Section 20 subsection 4 of the Competition Commission Act 2002 that illustrate the factors that may be taken into the view of the appreciable adverse effect of the competition here by the Competition Commission of India. Now the factors are actual and potential level of the competition that through imports in a market barriers to any to entry in the market. Now market share and likelihood of removing effective competition, innovations where the benefit outweigh the adverse effect on competition. Now the above yardsticks are to be taken into account irrespective of the fact whether an inquiry is instituted on receipt of a notice under Section 6 of the Act or upon its own knowledge. Now the scope of the assessment of adverse effect is confined to relevant market, which is a mix of the geographical and product involved and as per the terms of combination. Now most of the facts that enumerated in Section 20 subsection 4 of the external to be enterprises, it's noteworthy that the section that requires to invoke principles of the balancing, it requires the commission's combination. So if we talk about, so if the benefit of the combination that outweighs the adverse effect of the combination, now the commission will approve the combinations, and conversely the commission may declare such a combination as void. So being a quasi-judicial body, a commission that provides an opportunity of being heard to the affected parties before arriving at a decision to approve the reject proposal through applications or otherwise. Now the question that is so what all are the factors that they consider? That the factors they consider actual potential level of competition, and the scope, what is the scope of adverse effect, and what is the combination of the geographical and product involvement. Also there is no criteria that CCI even can go beyond the territory of India. So another question, that is RAM Limited is considering merger with Shyam Limited. Now RAM Limited shares are currently traded at rupees 20. So currently there is a 20 rupees. Now it has 1,70,000 shares as a profit after tax. So profit after tax we have 1,70,000 shares. Okay, that amounts to rupees 8,50,000. Okay, now Shyam has 40,000 shares that having a market price of rupees 50, and its profit after tax is 3 lakh. So if merger goes through by exchange of equity shares and the exchange ratio is based on the current market price, we need to calculate new EPS. Also the Shyam Limited that wants to ensure earning available to its shareholders are reduced due to proposed merger, what would be the exchange ratio in such case? So let's go with the answer. Here if we talk about the number of equity shares to be issued to the shareholders of the Shyam Limited, that is 14,000, and 15 by 20 it is 30,000. Now total number of shares in the RAM Limited after merger, that is 2 lakh. Total earning per share post merger is 8,50,000 plus 3 lakh, it is 1 lakh 11 lakh something. Now if we talk about earning per share post merger is 5 point, because what they did, they had basically divided all the shares and all the amount. So if we talk about earning ratio with earning assurance, if the exchange ratio that is decided with a view to maintain pre-merger EPS of the transferor company, shareholders of both the companies should get the same shares in the earning as they were getting before the merger. Now pre-merger EPS, that is RAM Limited is getting 5 and Shyam Limited is getting this. So now The total number of shares that after merger is this. Okay, go with another question. That is, meeting of the members of the Jwala International was held as per the order of the tribunal for the considering a scheme of the compromise arrangement in which 300 members, that is holding 10 lakh of shares, were present. Okay, and 130 members holding 6 lakh shares voted in favor. Okay, but that is not 50%, huh? And 120 members holding 1 lakh shares voted against. Okay, and 50 remain silent, abstain. So we need to examine here in this case. So let's go with the answer that as per section 230 subsection 6 of the Companies Act, that requires approval of the members by the members creditors, that separately for each class of the company, to a scheme of compromise arrangement. Now the required majority need to be 3/4 of the value in person or through proxy or by postal ballot. Now the tribunal may dispense with conducting a meeting if affidavits of the consent are given by the person concerned having stake more than 90% of the total stake in each classes. Now while counting for the approval, the person who did not attend, those of do not wish to vote shall be excluded and also to be invalidated votes. So that is excluded from that. So how many members if you consider 130 and 120? So 50% is doing. So now in this case each share is considered as a vote. Now 6 lakh vote are in favor and 1 lakh vote are in against. So it has more than 3 times and hence resolution is considered passed. Counting the member present to the vote and not to the vote is only for the statistical purpose only. So what we are counting? We are counting of the member who are present to vote. Not to vote is only for statistical purpose only. So 75% is already in favor. Okay, moving to the another question, that is that Woodland Telecommunication Limited listed with the NSE. So here it is willing to acquire the business of iron financing, okay, a non-banking financial company with BSE through a scheme of arrangement in terms of the Companies Act. Now Woodland Communication has an outstanding loan of 2,000 crore rupees from ICICI. Now combined post merger would be 10,000 crore. Okay, we need to request approval for the getting scheme merger that is to be considered. What are all the approvals that are need to be taken? So we need to consider that for the scheme of the compromise arrangement to be approval from the tribunal, that need to be accompanied by the approvals obtained from different regulatory authority in terms of the prescribed rules. Now that approvals of the board of BOD, shareholders different classes, so also creditors of different classes in separate meetings. Now if the shares in the company, whether transferor or the transferee, that are listed in any stock exchange, and observation letter from the concerned stock exchange. Now approval from Competition Commission of India, since there exceeds threshold limit in the given case. So there is a regulatory approval specific to the business of the concerned companies may also be required in the circumstances demand.
I just